Christians have a rational warrant for believing what they believe. That may be true for you, but it's not true for me. Is it just true for you that what may be true for me is not true for you? You're trying to push your morality on me already. So you're going to push your morality on me that I should not push my morality on you? I am open-minded and tolerant. You can have all the deeply held personal beliefs that you want. You just can't pretend like you actually know that they're true. You seem pretty confident about that. Well, yeah, I mean, it's obvious that we can't know anything. Very obvious. You seem to know this instinctively. Well, I wouldn't say that, but you are saying that. I just wouldn't want anyone to think that their deeply held conviction has any bearing on anybody else, because that's not fair to the other people. And this deeply held conviction of yours should bear on me to not share my deeply held conviction as if it has bearing on you. Hey, I realize there's just irreconcilable views in the world. So, let's just let's talk about something real. Let's talk about, say, abortion. Even though you may disagree with abortion, we can still work together to reduce the number of women seeking abortion by, say, reducing unintended pregnancies and making adoption available. I've been thinking the same thing a lot recently about, the return to slavery. Because there's a lot of people who disagree about slavery, or at least there were. And we didn't really treat them very well. I mean, we went to war with them to stop it, Like we knew it was wrong. Really close-minded of us. What we should have done was honored the consciences of those who disagreed about the issues of slavery. We should have worked to reduce the number of slaves, maybe not importing any new slaves from Africa, but allowing those that had already been established and keep the population from the original, well, say, maybe petri dish, if you wanted to use a metaphor. Dude, you're such a jerk. How can you think that? Slavery's wrong. Yeah, I think that too, but some people don't. Dude, we were talking about abortion, not slavery. It's a deep moral issue, but it's not something you can really have any scientific knowledge about. So what you're saying is you actually have a rational warrant for your beliefs, right? Yeah, it's totally rational. I have a rational warrant for my theological beliefs about Christianity. Tee-hee.
Goodness makes sadness go away.
Hey Internet, it's Friday.
Goodness makes you happy every day.
June 11th, this is the Worldview Everlasting podcast, and that preceding dramatic presentation was inspired by the article Justice for Some in the May-June issue of Touchstone magazine from the Fellowship of St. James, authored by Francis Beckwith. And hopefully it at least kind of illustrates the incredible illogic of the idea that you can't know anything, and the idea that somehow spirituality and religion is not real. That is to say that if you can know that Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon, or that it's wrong to torture children, or that Mother Teresa led a morally better life than Adolf Hitler, or that, say, the Earth is the third planet from the Sun, well, if you can know those things, then you can know that Christianity is the one true religion, that Jesus Christ is the only Son of God, that He is risen from the dead, and that the law of Yahweh of the Old Testament is the clearest example of moral law in the history of the universe. These are good things to know, and they're a firm foundation. In fact, I believe this wise guy once said you can build your house on it, and it's like a rock. And storms will come and blow, and the house will not fall down. But if you don't listen to those words, you are like a man who builds his house on the sand, and
total destruction from mountain to shore.
And the fall will be a great crash. So what, do I have nothing else to talk about today? I guess so. Although I have been asked by Cross-Focus Leadership for Missouri to say something about whether or not I would support Pastor Matt Harrison for the LCMS presidency, and I think that if you've been watching these videos, it should be pretty obvious that...
Yes! Yes!
No. Yes.
That, yeah, absolutely. Matt Harrison as the ideal candidate for being the head of our church body.
Yes!
On a whole host of levels.
Yes!
But without going into the depth and breadth of all of that, I'm just going to bring it back to one thing.
Yes!
I've been an advocate and will continue to be an advocate of missionary work in other countries that is truly Lutheran to its core, that cares about our theology practiced in a way that the theology is not destroyed. And there's this idea that Pastor Harrison has proposed as part of his agenda, his platform for the future of the Missouri Synod, that I think perfectly describes exactly why what he's thinking about is real mission work. Pastor Harrison wants to shift $4 million or so from an $80 million Missouri Synod budget to our seminaries for one express purpose: to bring in 100 international students every year to each of the Missouri Synod campuses, the one in Fort Wayne and the one in St. Louis. This not only would increase and support the population at these schools, but the benefit to other churches full of people much poorer than we are across the world would be profound and phenomenal, because our schools are two of the best equipped theological schools in the world. We have a theological treasure to share, and our whole global networking thing makes this completely possible. This is a win-win-win situation. Meanwhile, the current administration has projected no such plans or proposals.
Goodness makes the darkness go away.
I'm not quite sure what they want to do. I know they want to lead.
Goodness makes you happy every day.
Total destruction.
I'm not sure what else they want to do. So do I support Pastor Matt Harrison for the presidency? Absolutely. Am I just against what's going on right now? No, I'm against what's not going on right now. Check it out. At my graduation from Concordia Seminary, St. Louis, the district president, whose name I cannot recall, who gave the sermon, said the word mission no less than 30 times. Now, I say no less because I stopped counting after 30 times, and I didn't start until it was somewhere around 10. He said that word mission so many times, I don't even know what it means anymore.
Und der Oberbrockner, mir einer Zappa!
Meanwhile, there's this whole hubbub to do throughout the church and the world about the need for real leadership, for visionary leadership, this and that. But one of the most essential pieces of that value is to recognize that leadership doesn't talk about leadership, and mission doesn't talk about mission. They actually do it. After 9 years of the current administration, I see a disorganized, disharmonized, fighting synod, with one side trying to contract all power to itself so it can yank us in a direction the other half don't want to go.
Tooth decay.
I can't vote for that. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or nothing.
That is true, Tom. Ninjas. Tom, that's not an idea. That's just a word.
Yo, no, I mean there's ninjas in the room.
There's one organization within the Missouri Synod structure which is fiscally soluble and doing fantastic work internationally and at home, and doing it all without backing down once upon its theology. In fact, they also are publishing theology. Booklet after booklet after William Lohe on mercy, the 12 and the 7 in Acts 6 and the needy, toward a theology of mercy, mercy in the Lutheran congregation, Chemnitz on giving alms, the duties of the ministers of the church. If there is one reason and one reason alone to vote for Pastor Matt Harrison, is actually not that he's a theologian, although that's the big plus in the whole thing, is that he's actually a good leader. Oh, I think the most important thing is about talking together and getting the two groups that are fighting with each other right now to talk, which would really, really help things a lot. We haven't talked much during the restructuring. You notice that? So one side keeps telling us that we've talked. Oh goodness, I've already said way too much. Don't push your morality on me, man. I ain't voting for nobody who doesn't put Jesus.
Going down the road feeling bad, but I'm not feeling too bad.